Welcome to a very special Halloween edition of Beach Cliff Studios.
Boom.
Oh God, scary. What we have, speaking of scary, what we have here is our top 10 scariest roller coasters that we, or at least one of us, has been on. Now, we named it that just kind of like for a lack of a better title, because these aren't necessarily roller coasters that are scary. They could be scary roller coasters, or they could be just an experience on it, or something about it that was
These
scary.
are either scary coasters or, like you said, we had a very spooky experience.
You get the picture. We'll jump right into the video. It's Halloween, so you don't have much time. You got some trick-or-treating to do. So
You got some scaring people to do.
So let's get to it.
Number 10, starting off the list, we have Yukon Striker. Now, Yukon Striker is at Canada's Wonderland in just north of Toronto, Ontario. And this ride is a traditional B&M dive coaster. They're kind of one-trick ponies. But the thing with this ride is, if you don't know what a dive coaster is it goes to the top, hangs you over the edge for a couple of seconds, and drops you down. This ride, unlike some others, it hangs you over for a little bit longer than others.
Yeah,
it's about like 5 seconds.
I haven't ridden. So 5 seconds, you said?
It's like 5 or 6 seconds, which it doesn't seem like a lot, like only 5 seconds, but it feels like a lot. And when you're up there, like personally, the first time that I rode Yukon Striker, I only rode Valraven. That was the only other dive coaster. And I was pretty surprised of how long you're sitting there looking straight down. And it kind of feels like you broke down, even though that won't actually happen. But it just holds you over for a while.
Yeah, so that would be, and dive coasters in general kind of scare me because I'm afraid of heights. So even being on like Valraven where you're only hanging over for a couple seconds, that's scary to me. So Yukon Striker in at number 10.
Number 9.
Number 9 is X2. Now this, we only rode this one time about 4 years ago. It's going on 5 years ago. But I just remember being like freaked out, like before we even got on the ride. Now the ride itself we were fine on.
I love it.
But the anticipation, oh my God, because
it's a 4D kind of thing where
not a free spin.
No, but it's where the seats rotate, controlled.
Yeah.
But they do rotate. Whenever we rode it, we didn't ride anything like that, so it was very interesting. And it is a very freaky ride, but a great one.
Yeah, so X2 in at number 9 for our top 10 scariest roller coasters.
And coming in at number 8, we have Intimidator 305. Now, Intimidator 305, you probably heard about it. It is considered one of the most intense roller coasters ever built. It pulls like 5 Gs or something. Like, it makes people black out on the first turn or gray out.
Yeah,
so,
blackout. Like, a lot of people black out.
A lot of people black out where you go fully unconscious. But it just so many G-forces. It's so whippy. It's so fast. It is absolutely crazy ride. Very, very scary.
It's intimidating.
It is very intimidating.
So before you ride it, you hear all these stories about it, and you're like, "Oh my God, am I going to gray out? Am I going to black out?"
You will.
And so it's just kind of intimidating to ride. So
very whippy.
Yeah, before you ride it, you're excited because you really want to ride it because you know how fun it's going to be. But at the same time, there's those nerves and kind of that little bit of fear, like how am I going to react to this ride? Now, at number 7 is a ride that, me being afraid of heights, it took me a little while to get on this ride. I almost rode it, like I think the opening year or second year was open. I was at the park with some friends and we got in line and I was going to ride it. And as soon as we were in the station next, it started raining, so it broke down. So this is Top Thrill Dragster. At the time, it was the tallest roller coaster in the world. Shooting straight up and then
420 feet, 120 miles an hour. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, it's very scary to ride whenever you're, even if you're not afraid of heights.
Yeah, I'm not afraid of heights, but like everybody is afraid of heights in some sense. It's like a protection thing with your brain. So, yeah, riding Top Thrill Dragster, for me too, it took me a little bit to ride it because it is pretty freaky.
Yeah, so when it started raining and I was next in line and it started raining, I was like, you know what? I was kind of like, at least I don't have to ride this thing. And then I didn't ride it till some years later when me and you rode it.
Yeah,
And,
a long time ago.
and we love it. And actually now I'll tell people that it's one of the least scariest rides
Yeah.
at the park.
I would say it is not. I would say it is the scariest ride because it is one of the only rides that I do get really nervous on at Cedar Point.
It's over so fast though.
It is over very fast.
But it was a very scary experience, so that's why it came in at number 7 on our list. So what's number 6?
Number 6 is defunct coaster Firehawk, and it was a Vekoma flying coaster. Now, personally, I love flying coasters, and I don't find this ride scary at all.
This was my addition.
Yeah, this is completely his because flying coasters don't scare me. I love them.
Yeah, so flying coasters just being flat down, laying down, looking straight down, and going through the entire course like that. It freaked me out. So it freaked me out before I rode it, and it freaked me out during the time of the ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, I'm done with flying coasters, especially B&Ms.
I'm not.
Because, yeah, you'll ride
I rode Manta at SeaWorld Orlando, and it's just so good. It is scary. That is another scary ride. But it is just so much fun. Flying coasters are great.
And then at number 5, we have Blue Streak, but not the more famous one at Cedar Point. Blue Streak at Conneaut Lake Park.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that this is seen, I've never ridden this ride.
Yeah, you've never ridden it. I've ridden it multiple times because I've been to Conneaut Lake Park multiple times. Basically, if you don't know what Conneaut Lake Park is, it is a very small park in Pennsylvania, very close to Ohio. And it is very sketchy. I mean, I've been there a couple times. I love it because it is definitely interesting. But the park is very sketchy, and their main coaster is Blue Streak. It's an old wooden coaster.
Or was Blue Streak.
Well, yeah. Blue Streak, people have talked about workers, like, working on the ride while riding it, and I could see that. Because you're going through the woods,
and so there'll be people with, like, hammer nails, like hammering in, like, a wood board or something while you're actually on the ride or something like that.
Yeah.
And then it's just a park that is...
It's very, very sketchy.
Doesn't look like the most well-maintained park.
It is not.
So anytime that you go on a ride and you're putting your life on the line, trusting these people, and things don't look quite up to par...
Yeah, the wood is very shoddy.
Yeah, then it might not be the best idea. So I could see where that would be very scary.
I love it, though. It's charming.
Now, at number 4... This one
is one of my favorite coasters, just like, period.
It's a great coaster, but...
It is terrifying. It is...
The coaster isn't scary itself.
No, well...
But there's one element.
Well, yeah, which is part of the coaster.
Well, yeah.
But it is Jackrabbit. Now, I've ridden 2 Jackrabbits, I think. One at Seabreeze in New York. But we're not talking about that one. That one's great, but we're not talking about that one. We're talking about the one at Kennywood in Pittsburgh, outside of Pittsburgh. And this ride, West Mifflin. It has, there's one part that it's a double down. If you don't know what a double down is, it goes down, levels out a little bit, goes back down very quickly. So that part of the ride is, I mean, it's really good, but the thing that really makes it great is the restraints. There is only a seatbelt on this ride, and the seatbelt it does not get very tight.
Yeah,
so you
not much space
go flying. You are literally, not even joking, standing up at the bottom of it. It is terrifying. I hold on because
you feel like you could legitimately die on this thing.
100%.
Like you feel like you could fly out of that ride at any time.
And just that part makes up for the whole ride.
It is legit scary.
It is great though. So that is coming in at number 4. And
now at number 3.
Top 3 now. Number 3. We are going. Oh, we're staying in Pennsylvania. Actually,
Pennsylvania. They got a lot. Pennsylvania's scary.
Pennsylvania is pretty scary.
Yeah, that's not a good state apparently for roller coasters
or football. For top 3, we have
Twister at Knoebels. Now, this ride itself isn't scary. There's nothing on it that's scary. It's
a very fast-paced ride, very fun, but...
Okay, well, the most unique experience on any coaster, to show how shoddy this place is, we just flew through the station and went on it again. The brakes didn't work.
So we just flew by and then went around a second time.
We were on Twister here at Knoebels, and we were finishing up. And we were coming close to the station, and the brakes didn't initiate, and we just flew through the station and went through a second time. And that's kind of freaky enough, because that could be mechanical. That could be, you don't know what's going on at that point.
And it's just like, why aren't the brakes working? I mean, I don't think we need to explain why that's scary. Flying through the station. No. So we flew through the station like 40 miles an hour or something. Took the turn after the station, went back up.
Well, the worst part, but the worst part was, I turned around.
I did too.
I turned around and I literally saw workers going like this to one another. Like, that doesn't instill confidence while you're on this machine that, like we said earlier, you're trusting your life with.
Yeah. And again, these roller coasters are very safe, but
you don't know. Things go wrong. And that was legit. When we were going through the course the second time, I was wondering the entire time, like, because that's what we did. We ended up going through the course the second time, and then we hit the brakes, and then we got in the station, and they let us off and just loaded on people like nothing was wrong.
I know. So, I don't know.
So that made Knoebels very, like...
You would never see that at a big corporate, like, Cedar Fair park.
Yeah, that would never happen. And now we have number 2.
Number 2. Now, this ride is built to be scary.
Yes.
It is... Staying in Pennsylvania once again, it is Scariest at Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
This one, no particular thing about it.
No, there's not one turn, one hill, one thing that makes this ride scary. It is the whole thing.
The whole ride.
The restraints are very weird because they don't go on your thighs. Well, they don't like come here. They come like farther down your legs. It leads you to move around a lot, very freely.
Ragdolling.
Yes.
I call it ragdolling. Yeah. That's how I described it. I said and it's one of my favorite coasters. Mm-hmm. I love this thing, but it is also one of the only coasters that I legitimately like hold on to pretty much the entire time. Some other rides you can have your hands in the air and like
just don't care.
Yes, and then like get the air time and like whip around either side. But this thing actually like makes you feel like you're being like, it feels like you're going to throw your back out at times.
You have to hold on to like stabilize yourself. It's like, oh my god, it is insane. The airtime hills, you get so extreme and violent airtime.
Yeah, it's a crazy ride. Mm-hmm. One of my favorites, but legitimate scary.
Yes. And number 1, the scariest ride. This is kind of a combination of an experience and a roller coaster. It is in southern Indiana. It is The Voyage, but not just any The Voyage.
No.
It is The Voyage at night during Halloween Nights, which is a special event only for roller coaster enthusiasts. And basically, Voyage is a big wooden coaster that goes through the woods. And for Halloween Nights, they turn off the trim brakes on the mid-course brake run.
In case you don't know what trim brakes are, trim brakes can be on most roller coasters.
They are just little things on the track that slow you down, and a mid-course brake run is a thing set up on some roller coasters in the middle of the ride just to slow you down so you don't go too fast through the second half.
And they could stop you
in case
there's like a train that maybe like doesn't make it through the entire course or something.
So you don't collide.
It gets into block zones. There's a really good YouTuber called El Toro Ryan that gets all into block zones, so we don't have to talk about block zones. But the mid-course is there for safety reasons and that. So, and for maintenance, because the trim brakes slow the train down, so it doesn't
much wear and tear.
Yeah, not as much wear and tear on the track.
Yeah, but this ride, for this event, they turn off the turn brakes on the mid-course brake run, and you go absolutely flying through the second half, and it is crazy.
It's pitch dark.
Not to mention, since you go through the woods, it is pitch dark, so you can't see a thing, and you're going so fast, it's completely, like, just close your eyes. This is how dark it is.
And talk about ragdolling. This, you completely, like, you don't know. When you're riding a roller coaster, you don't really realize how much, whenever you're, like, coming up to a turn, how much your body, like, unconsciously
braces.
You brace yourself, and you
for
kind of
a
like
left turn or a right turn.
you kind of take your, like you said, brace yourself, or kind of like turn into a turn or something.
And
you don't really realize it, but if it's completely pitch dark,
your brain or your body has no idea what's gonna happen. So you're just sitting there, and you get thrown to the left, thrown to the right, thrown up, thrown down, every which way. And it is absolutely insane. Ride it for yourself.
One of the best experiences, but freaky, completely freaky.
So scary.
Yeah, so scary because you don't know where you're going. You don't know if all the track disappeared ahead of you and you're about to fly off and die like you're on Final Destination 3.
That could happen. That's a very probable thing.
But that's it.
Scariest roller coaster.
That was our scariest roller coasters
/ experiences.
Yeah, and that was our Halloween special because we had to do something scary for Halloween.
Yeah.
And that was it. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment, tell us that you enjoyed it. Tell us that you want to see more content like this. And then subscribe. Nothing helps us out more than a good old subscription to our channel.
It does nothing.
We're pushing towards 2,000, so we would really like to get 2,000 here sooner than later. And so, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys next time. Happy Halloween from Beach Cliff Studios.